In here? Good morning. We're going to go ahead and start. The mayor will be joining us shortly. Allison, would you please initiate the roll call?
Mayor Brook, Vice Mayor Carter,
Present.
Commissioner Daly. Here. Commissioner Vignola,
Present.
Commissioner Simmons,
Here.
City Manager Goodrum, and City Attorney Hearn. Here. Thank you.
Okay. If you all, in your own special way and however you communicate for peace, please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Now I'd like to ask Mr. Mike Del Pozo if you'll please give us the Pledge of Allegiance. Direct us in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the United States for which it stands, one nation, under
God,
God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Del Pozo. I'm sorry I don't have a T-shirt for you. Guess I roll on into you.
Sorry to be late.
Wait, you're just in time for recognitions.
How's everyone this morning? Good. I do apologize for being late. I don't know if you did a moment of silence.
We did.
Through
For
the
the
pledge,
two people that we lost.
But we lost.
Sydney Aiello.
No, because when we do our moment of silence, typically it's for each person individually, but you're right.
No worries. Sounds good. Recognitions?
Yeah, recognition.
All right. So this is number one for the Fire Department Employees of the Year. Who'd like to join me down there? How about you, Larry?
Do it.
How are you?
Gabriel, can you come up here, please? Mayor, the first recognition we have is for the Explorer of the Year. It's Gabriel Martelli. Gabriel's being recognized by his peers. We ask the Explorers, whenever we're looking for our Explorer of the Year, who they would recognize and recommend. Yeah, can I have my command staff come up, please? Gabriel's name came up as somebody that is constantly there for the other explorers, leads by example, is involved with everything, and is just a great asset to have as one of our explorers. So Gabriel is our 2018 Explorer of the Year.
So I have a mic. I don't have to take yours. So Gabriel, can you tell us a little bit about you and your experience and what this means to you?
Started it alongside with my best friend, and it's truly amazing, just the brotherhood. And this is a huge, great honor, especially to my family and to my parents. My mom's over there, and to my dad, who's out working, and I do it all for them.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your service. We appreciate you being a part of us. Thank you.
Teresa, can I have you come up, please? We'll do them all together, yeah. Our next award is the 2018 Employee of the Year, and that's Teresa Castro. Teresa works out at the training center, and when I say she works out at the training center, it's an understatement. She's an integral part of what we do at the Fire Training Center. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Teresa and her colleagues out there, the academy wouldn't be what it is. She's always involved. She always has a smile. She's a great representative when it comes to customer service, both for internal and external customers. She's well respected by her peers. The other thing I always like to recognize her for, and she'll probably smack me for it, but she served our country for a very long time in the military. So we always thank her for her service and everything she's done for our freedoms. So, but it's for so many reasons that she is a our Civilian Employee of the Year, and I don't have time to mention them all, but she's a great asset to this organization.
So, congratulations. So I'm going to read the certificate for you, Teresa, for your dedication, compassion, and positive attitude, and demonstrating consistent exemplary service. We are proud to honor you as the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department's 2018 Civilian Employee of the Year.
Thank you.
Run out of here before we ask for this. Is Greg here? All right. Mayor, we also have an Instructor of the Year for the Academy. It's Greg Mulford. I don't know if he's on duty today or not, but Greg is just an instrumental part of our instructor corps. He helps build props and get things together for future classes. He's committed to excellence and exceptional work ethic. He always gets good reviews from the students. We do we do evaluations after classes, and Greg always has positive reviews for being a great instructor. So he was our 2018 Instructor of the Year. Captain Sullivan. So Captain Sullivan is our Supervisor of the Year for 2018. And when it comes to Supervisor of the Year, we put out an email and ask for peers to select the different categories. And Captain Sullivan had multiple nominations for Supervisor of the Year. Captain Sullivan's been with this department for a long time and has been a role model. He's constantly looking to better himself, continue his education and his training. He teaches out at the academy to pass along that knowledge and help build the future of the fire service. His crews are always positive and very productive crews, and he just does a great job. He leads by example, and he is a mentor within his position, and that's why he's Supervisor of the Year 2018.
So, Captain, I'll read this for you. Captain Kevin Sullivan, for demonstrating exemplary supervision, mentoring, and leadership skills throughout the year that positively impacted our department and our community. We're proud to honor you as the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department's 2018 Supervisor of the Year. Congratulations.
Carolyn, can you come up, please? So, Mayor, the 2018 Firefighter of the Year is Carolyn Quillen. Carolyn, she just goes out of her way as a firefighter to really help this organization out. We have a training manual that we do for new hires, and Carolyn went out of her way to help the training division completely redo this manual. And when I say a manual, it's a book. It's no joke. She's always positive. She's on our ALS competition team. Whenever we need help with something, she's always there. She comes to events. She's just really what we look for in a firefighter, paramedic, and she's truly been an asset to our organization and will continue to be in the future. And she's well respected by her peers, and that's why she's our 2018 Firefighter of the Year.
Awesome. So special recognition for you, Carolyn, firefighter, paramedic, for demonstrating consistently exceptional service throughout the year, going above and beyond and positively impacting our department and our community. We're proud to honor you as the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department's 2018 Firefighter of the Year. Congrats again. Anything else you'd like to say, Commissioner?
Thank you guys very much. Congratulations to you all, and thank you to all the men and women of the Coral Springs Parkland Fire Department for everything you guys do day in and day out for our residents. So thank you.
Awesome. Time for a picture. Come on in, guys.
Hey, how are you? How was your St. Patty's? Good? Good.
Great. Commissioner Simmons, will you join me for this one? Thank you. Josh, how are you? Good morning. How are you? Good morning. How are you? Want to share?
Could I have the telecommunicators come up? Joining us is Kathy Lariano, Diane Armistead, Aaron Kafta, and Tom Campy. You know, Mr. Mayor, this is special to us because I firmly believe that we have the best dispatch center in the state, and it doesn't fall on me that the commission here many times in the past has had to face some adversary and some criticism in order for us to keep our dispatch center. And they do a fantastic job. They like to refer to themselves as the first responders, which they are. They're the calm and competent voice that you hear when you're having a bad day and you call 911. So I'm very happy that we're here to proclamate the week.
So the special proclamation reads as follows. National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week is a time to honor those persons who perform vital duties for municipal, county, state, and federal public safety communications throughout the country. Public safety telecommunications personnel are the link between the public and the agencies that provide help. They often work long and hard hours under extremely stressful conditions. They are truly our nation's unsung heroes. They're responsible for responding to calls from the general public for police, fire, and emergency, medical assistance, and for dispatching the said assistance to help save the lives and properties of our citizens. So therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, take it over, Josh.
Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, proclaim the week of April 14th through the 20th, 2019, as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week.
All right.
Kathy, would you like to say something?
I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to our commissioner and mayor for recognizing the week of Telecommunicator Week and proclaiming it in the city of Coral Springs. It's an honor for us. We do this because we love what we do and we love serving the citizens of Coral Springs and Parkland. And my people work very hard hours, and I'm very proud of my team and all the hard work they did during MSD. And they do it a lot of times without recognition, and I'm very proud of them.
So let's give them another round of applause. So may I ask you, what do you do to stay calm? Do you have any tips to share with all of us? A lot of yoga?
Remember to breathe. A lot of people don't realize the training that comes behind being a public safety telecommunicator. When we hire someone, it takes anywhere from 6 to 8 months to perform the job. And then after that, it's ongoing training that they have to do to learn the techniques to remain calm during a call, because people never call us when they're having a good day or to say hi and how are we doing. It's usually when they're having a bad day, so we have to learn how to compose ourselves. We rely on each other a lot because we understand what we're going through, and also trying to find techniques outside of work and hobbies that we have to be able to cope with the calls that we have to cope with. Because, just because a call is done, maybe, no offense to the officers and firefighter paramedics, after a call, they can, take a break and then go to the next one. We don't have that. We still have to pick up the next call because the calls don't stop coming in. Same, after MSD, the calls, we still had, medical calls and police calls that we still had to pick up, even though we were dealing with that incident. So it doesn't stop until your shift is over.
Well, it's a privilege to be able to recognize you all today. Thank you for the work you do. Appreciate it. Barrett, you ready for us? Come on in the center. Been around a long time. Thank you so much. Crime Victims Week?
Yes. I got you up there.
Okay, there you go. Is that you? All right, thank you, Dale. Good to have good people help me be organized. All right, Chief, take it away.
Okay, we're also here to recognize Crime Victims Week, and if I could have Yvonne Barrios. She is one of our 2 victim advocates. Come up and join us here. Our
You
victim.
look as young as when I first met you, Yvonne.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Our victim advocates do a tremendous job. They help victims through the complicated and complex legal system. They're there with them every step of the way. They're there to provide comfort to people who have lost loved ones. And, you know, I will tell you that they make our job so much easier when they're there to help assist on the scene while we're gathering facts. I don't think they get enough recognition throughout the year, so I'm extra excited that they set aside a week for them, so.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief. So I'll read the proclamation. I'll do my best. National Crime Victims' Rights Week provides an opportunity for us to reshape the future of victims, for victims, by honoring the past and reflecting on hard-won victories, and to recommit to working together to insist on better treatment for victims to help them overcome the harm that's caused by crime. The Coral Springs Police Department is joining forces with victim service programs, criminal justice officials, and concerned citizens throughout the city of Coral Springs and America to raise awareness for the victims' rights. Yvonne and her team are very, very special people. It takes a lot of heart, a lot of patience, and a lot of compartmentalization to do what you do. So thank you, and keep up the good work, Yvonne. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We are very fortunate as a city to have 2 victim advocates here, and we work as a team, as our chief has said. And cities across the nation are honoring crime victims and survivors. And here in Broward County, we are members of the Broward Victims' Rights Coalition, and this coalition has planned several events, starting with our kickoff bowling event, which is this Sunday, and that's followed by a midweek vigil, which we hold at Long Key Nature Park, where we honor crime victims and survivors. And it culminates with our annual training and awards luncheon, which is next Friday. And there we recognize individuals who've done extraordinary work with our crime victims. I'm very honored to be able to work with crime victims and survivors. And to me and my coworker, Diane Lenarte, it is really a calling. Thank you so much.
Commissioner Daley and Vice Mayor Carter, if you join me for this one. And I'll let you present.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate that. Thanks, sir. Wanted to thank staff also for letting us do this last minute. It came to my attention that, as some of you may know, this is my last meeting. Collective sigh, no? Okay. But I wanted to make sure over the last couple of years, the Mayor Skip Campbell and I have kind of traded off recognizing April as Autism Awareness Month, and so I wanted to make sure that we got it in. And so city manager and team, I really appreciate you guys obliging and putting it on there. So Michelle from the from Abby's Place is here this morning. We appreciate you coming as well. Autism Awareness Month is extremely, extremely important, and I know in the last couple years, this community has really started to embrace it. We've lit up different buildings blue. I know the charter school has done it and has done an annual program every year recognizing the importance of understanding and raising awareness of those with autism. And I always like to highlight Abby's Place because I think it's a phenomenal center right here in Coral Springs that does so much for young folks with autism. And so with that, I'll read the proclamation, and then I'll turn it over to you to say a few words if you don't mind. So, special proclamation for Autism Awareness Month. We recognize that autism is a complex mental condition and developmental disability characterized by difficulties in the way a person communicates and interacts with other people. While there's no cure for autism, it's well documented that individuals with autism who receive treatment early in their lives can reduce their symptoms and improve their life functions. With this proclamation, we can renew our commitment to support the entire autism community, including children and adults with autism, their families, and caregivers. Together, we can increase access to information, encourage heightened understanding, promote respect and dignity, and support the services that assist people with autism to reach their full potential. Therefore, we, the City Commission of Coral Springs, proclaim April 2009 as Autism Awareness Month. I'm honored to say it's my final proclamation, and it's signed by the Mayor and the City Commission.
Well, thank you so much, Mayor Daly, and thank you, Commission, and the entire board. I am very excited that you brought this up because yesterday was National Autism Day. This entire month is National Autism Month. And with that being said, we have so many families right here in Coral Springs, Parkland that is affected by this. And we have multiple services in the community that is available for these wonderful children. However, our approach at Abby's Place, I'm the occupational therapist, I'm the lead rehabilitation specialist that coordinates both OT, PT, speech, and ABA. However, our approach here is making sure we are sensitive to their needs. Their sensitivities are great. It impacts a young child from the age of 18 months all the way through to 18 years. Our impact needs to be that we are creating children within Coral Springs Parkland that are so centered that they can perform, and we can cut down some of our long-term impacts we have with these families. I'm very driven to say that this approach, making sure we lead them forward, making sure we're giving them a platform at Abby's Place where they can integrate maybe later in other organizations, making sure we can aggregate their development, as well as their basic life skills, makes me very happy to be a part of this organization and very proud to say that I work at Abby's Place. I just also want to say thank you so much for the support of the Coral Springs Police Department. We really appreciate their ongoing yearly semantics with us, and it warms the children's hearts, and I just want to recognize them for always being there. Thank you.
Next, we have public comment. Who's up first?
We have 3 signed speakers. The first one is Elise Massa.
I just remind the speakers, when you come up, please let us know your name and your address. Good morning.
4639 Northwest 99th Terrace. Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. I am here today simply as a resident of the community. I have no financial gain, nor am I associated with any cannabis-related business or dispensary. However, in full disclosure, I did reach out to 2 dispensaries in Deerfield because I want to be able to get my medication from the people I trust without having to leave the city in which I live. I'm here this morning because when I watched the video of the first reading in public forum, I didn't see anyone who looked like me or represented me. My name is Elise Massa. I am 60 years old. I've lived in Coral Springs for 27 years, and I am a medical marijuana patient. 2.5 years ago, I was forced into early retirement due to a painful medical condition, cutting short a 35-year career as an executive in the corporate world. After opioids left me in a zombie-like stupor, I made the decision to treat my pain in a more natural way. I consider myself to be a very informed and knowledgeable patient. With that in mind, I would like to address some of the misconceptions surrounding patients and dispensaries that were brought up at the March 20th meeting, such as delivery. Why do we need a dispensary in our community when we could just have our medication delivered? Were you aware that delivery from a dispensary takes days and not hours? Or that some dispensaries require a minimum order, a steep delivery fee? Commissioner Vignola, you mentioned you have some of your medication drop shipped. Well, drugs that are drop shipped, Commissioner, are typically maintenance drugs, not painkillers. Surely no compassionate human being would purposely let a loved one spend days in pain awaiting a delivery of medication. And as I listen to your concerns that dispensaries will increase homelessness, loitering, people smoking in or in front of a dispensary, or issues around securing the product and the facilities, I have to ask, have you ever been to a dispensary? Have you visited Curaleaf, Trulieve, Knox, Rise, Vitacan, Certera? If not, I invite you to join me the next time I pick up my medication. The experience is much like that of an urgent care center.
I'll allow you 1 more minute, Elise.
Thank you. It is professional, discreet, and secure. The majority of patients are elderly, many with walkers or canes, who just want to pick up their medication and go home. These are the people that need their medication in hours and not days. And I've seen more homeless people outside my local Target than I have at a dispensary. And I understand the concern that people from outside our community might come into Coral Springs due to a lack of dispensaries in surrounding cities. But surely, the new Costco on Wiles Road brings far more people and traffic into our city than a few dispensaries will. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Elise. So, for those of you watching at home and those of you that may be coming to speak, we're not required to give you a response, and if one of us have a response, we'll typically share it during our communications later in the meeting. So I invite you to stay for the rest of the meeting. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Candace Lerman.
Is Candace here? Okay, next one.
Next one is Diane Simpson.
Good morning, Diane.
Hi, good morning. Hello, I'm Diane Simpson, 8644 Northwest 29 Drive, Coral Springs. Today I'd like to present an idea that has to do with saving the city of Coral Springs some money. It has to do with the city hall in the mall. Since the new municipal complex has been completed, we have the one-stop shop. I'd like to suggest that we save some taxpayer money by moving that segment into this building. It would save on rent expense that we pay now for renting the space at the Coral Square Mall. The revenues would be the same. We would simply be cutting some expenses. As you know, I'm a certified public accountant and have an eye for money and numbers. I'd like the commission to consider this as a way to save money in the budget. I'm not suggesting cutting any services, only cutting costs, and possibly increasing efficiencies. Thank you very much.
Thank you. No other signed speakers?
No.
I know, Amy, did you still want to speak? Absolutely, come on up. Just let us know your name and your address.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. My name is Amy Tart, and I'm a local business owner. My business address is 3111 North University Drive. And this is Mike Del Pozo, and we are here today to talk to you guys about a promise I made when I started my business in Coral Springs, to use it as an excuse to do good in the community. And my father was a Vietnam veteran who died 5 years ago from Agent Orange effects. He was drafted into the war. And I've done a lot of work with veterans, and I know that a lot of people are not knowledgeable on Honor Flight, which does take veterans to Washington, D.C. for the day to see the war memorials. They're escorted by a guardian. It is just a regular person like you and me that take the day to bring them up, and it's a very memorable experience that changes their lives and shows gratitude for their service. So our request today is, I reached out to Ryan, who's the president of Honor Flight Southeast Florida. Coral Springs is the least represented city on Honor Flight. I don't think that is something that we should take lightly, and I think it should change. So we have the opportunity to come together as a city and really support our veterans and be there for them and do this Honor Flight with them. So our goal is to come together and get 20 of us. It's $400. That is your plane ticket and to take the veteran. So that's the total cost, no taxes, that includes everything. So our goal is to get 20 local residents of Coral Springs to do that. We have 2 right here, and I'm gonna let Mike speak a little bit more, but our goal today in speaking to you all is to get your support of our commissioners and our mayor and our city to come together and as Coral Springs, really support our veterans.
Mike Del Pozo, 8529 Northwest 20th Court. I am a veteran, and I want to add on to what Amy just said, and I'll put it in perspective. After the Vietnam War, there were no parades for these guys down Main Street, USA. If you want to go even further back, the Korean conflict, it's known as the Forgotten War. Go back even further, World War II. These guys, these men and women who changed the course of history are dying at 370 per day. There's less than 1 million. Help us reach our goal of sending these veterans to New York, to Washington, to see how this country has honored them by showing these monuments up close and personal. We reach out to each and every one of these, one or all of these. Help us spearhead this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a website for more information?
Yes, it's Honor Flight Southeast Florida, but also if you'd like to reach out to us, we're going to be doing fundraisers around the city as well, or if you would like to be a guardian and take them or donate, you can reach out to either of us through, I guess, I'll come up with information, but you can go to Honor Flight Southeast Florida, but I can get you more information of like how to be a part of it.
We'll send you the link to you.
There you go.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Mike, thank you for your service. Would anybody else like to be heard? Please come on up. My roller skating friend.
This is correct. My name is Marion DeBonis. My address is 10880 West Sample Road, Unit 5401, Coral Springs. So I was going to come up, I spoke last time, for anyone who doesn't know, about the medical dispensaries. I'm not a patient, just from the medicinal and obvious clinical trials and research. And sorry, I have sunglasses on because they're prescription. I was going to, I had a couple things I want to say, but I think I want to just fast forward to what this, I believe, Commissioner Daly, you were indicating it was Autism Month, and I'll leave everyone with this quick note. I did a little Google search on autism and cannabis, and I quote from the website autismspeaks.org. There's an article that came out on December 19th, 2018. Autism Speaks hosts first scientific conference on cannabis and autism. I won't read the whole article. I'll allow all of you to go to the website. But for those of you, and I know Commissioner Vignola, I recall last time that you were not in favor of this, and as a business analyst by nature on my real job, it's my job to look at every component in order to make proper decisions to improve processes. So I understand both avenues. My concern is that everyone isn't looking at both avenues. So to make an informed decision about the dispensaries, outside of the fact that the people that it will help, I understand there's apprehension in having dispensaries here. However, again, doing due diligence and understanding the entire scope of this is the most important part. So if you firmly believe, based on your due diligence you've performed, that a dispensary shouldn't be here, then clearly that's your entitlement. However, if you have not, I highly suggest you do a little more research into the clinical and medical and look at these websites where they're clearly defining the relationship between cannabis and people, as far as we already know about Crohn's disease and the other diseases, but now autism. These are cannabinoids in our bodies that we should have, that we've been removing, because what happened in the 20s is when it was put on that blacklist, our bodies didn't have it. So it's calling out for these cannabinoids to come back in. And if we can't procreate and bring it back that way, then we need to bring it another way for these people. So I'll pretty much leave you with that. I think that was really, again, I had some other things I want to talk about, but I think that was really driving the point home as far as autism. I mean, it's something that we can control because we have the ability. Outside of the fact that the banking, as we all know, or don't know, the Congress will be this week. They will be voting whether or not they're going to move it ahead, which I'm sure they will because of the financials, and then it'll go to the Senate. So again, this is moving forward. It's just a matter of what does Coral Springs want to do? Do they want to help their residents that have clearly made it clear they want help, or do they want to lay back and see how the path of progression takes place? Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Would anybody else like to be heard? Come on up. Let us know your name and address, please. And welcome.
And my address is 1451 Fairway Circle, West Palm Beach.
Just for the record, if you can spell your first name and your last name.
Of course, it's Yesenia, and it's Bernardeau. So I am a patient advocate. I am employed by a dispensary, and I am also a patient of a medical marijuana treatment center. The reason for coming here today is to explain the safety of dispensaries and our community involvement. It's not just about selling cannabis, it's a lot about helping the community, and different ways that we do that is by offering discounts to parties that need it most, like pediatric patients, senior patients with disabilities and veterans. Autism, like she had pointed out, is definitely one of the things that we are treating. Something else that we treat very closely is Parkinson's, PTSD, things that really impact Coral Springs and many of the surrounding communities. So for example, last night we did an educational seminar in a Parkinson's panel discussion. So we are doing a lot of things to advance research, even though a lot of it is not efficated yet just because of the federal regulations. But we are very regulated. We do a lot of third-party testing, and everything is very safe, is kind of the end goal of this, is to prove that there is no homeless outside of the dispensaries. We have everything very well lit. There is no loitering around the space, and we do have what's called a man trap that you have to go through, present your ID, and then come into the dispensaries. You are not allowed in a dispensary without an ID. Everything is very double checked. We even do order checks on when a dispensary associate is releasing product. Somebody else comes behind them and checks again. So if you all have any questions about the safety or regulations that we go through, I'm happy to answer that for you.
All right. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to be heard in public comment? All right, seeing none, we'll move forward. We are in consent. There are no public hearings. Is there any pulled items from consent?
Move consent.
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carries unanimously. Next, we're on policy formation and direction. Number 7, ordinance 2019-104, second reading, pharmacies, medical marijuana regulations. With Horace, taking the lead.
Mayor, I'll read the title. It's an ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, repealing ordinance 2017-124 in its entirety, amending multiple sections of Chapter 25 of the Land Development Code pertaining to pharmacies, medical marijuana dispensing facilities, and medical marijuana processing facilities, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for effective date. We had our public hearing at first reading. This is a request to adopt and approve.
Mayor and Commissioners, the ordinance was presented, which incorporated state statutes as well as some additional guidelines that we recommended. That's consistent with the staff's review of certain land use and zoning practices. It was adopted on first reading, and we have not gotten any requests for any revisions, so we're presenting it today for your consideration on second reading.
Thank you very much. And again, I appreciate the work of staff putting this together. Sure.
I know in first reading this had passed at 500 feet from a school and preschool and all that stuff. About how far away is University and Sample, the intersection there, from where we are right now?
My guess it's about 750 feet. That's my guess.
All right, thank you.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Discussion. Vice Mayor?
So I'm all for them coming. I've visited the dispensaries. I'm fine with the way they manage their process and whatnot. I still would like to see the 500 feet moved, even if it's 1,000, just a little bit further. But it doesn't stop them from coming to the city, which I said I'm fine with, but I think 500 is just too big a space.
So would the move-in, Commissioner Daley, accept that as a friendly amendment?
No, sir.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I wish you guys would look at it and understand that, 500 feet from a school, how close that really is. I agree with the Vice Mayor's opinion that a little further would be, I think, make a lot more people more comfortable, so.
Understood. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, it carries 4-1. We are on to number 8, ordinance 2019-105. This is the second reading, amending the police officer's pension plan.
Mayor, I'll read the title. An ordinance of the City Commission of the City of Coral Springs, Florida, amending Chapter 13, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Coral Springs, entitled Coral Springs Police Officers Pension Plan, in accordance with the Fraternal Order of Police Collective Bargaining Agreements, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for codification, providing for an effective date. Request to approve and adopt.
Does anyone require Dale to present any further?
Yeah, only if you need him to.
Okay. Nobody does. May I entertain a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Item 9 has been removed. The next is item 10. These are appointments to the Customer-Involved Government Committee.
Mr. Mayor, as the outgoing Commission Liaison to the Customer Involved Government Committee, I would move to appoint James Dietz and Janet Gavidia to the Customer Involved Government Committee.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Next, we're on to item number 11. Christie? Good morning.
Good morning. So we had 10 responses to our RFP for our Economic Development Strategic Plan, and from that, we interviewed 5, had 5 different presentations in January, and came to the decision that Camoin Associates would be the best company for the job for a number of reasons. They had actually toured the area prior to doing the presentation, so they were familiar with it and actually brought up examples of potential opportunities. They're very data-driven, and they have a strong marketing and branding base. And finally, they've never done work in South Florida, so they have a very fresh perspective. So we're very excited to be working with them. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christie. Great. We're moving along. We are on to Commission Communications.
I don't generally jump in first on Commission Communications, but if you don't mind.
I'm just going to share one thing, because when it's my turn, if marketing can come up with the link, coralsprings.org/whatever it is, to apply for boards and committees. So when it comes to my time, if you would please do that. I also do want to recognize Mayor Campbell's nephew, Matthew Gotha, is in the room. And again, my prayers and thoughts are with you and your family. We miss your uncle. He remains a great example of leadership for this commission and for our community. and I'm looking forward to the dedication of the building. When is that, Matt? April 10th, so 1 week from today, at noon. And then later today at the retreat, we're going to be talking about other ways that this city can pay tribute to Mayor Campbell. So thank you for being here. Okay, on to you, Commissioner Daley.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So as you guys may have heard me mention previously, this is my final commission meeting, and I just wanted to make a couple remarks, if it's okay. I'll try to be brief. I know we have a try to be under an hour time limit for our morning meetings.
Commissioner, you don't have to be brief. You deserve the floor. It's your
appreciate
floor.
that. Thank you, sir. So first and foremost, I just want to say thank you to the residents, to the voters who trusted a 22-year-old kid who just wanted to do right by his hometown, and entrusted me with the opportunity to serve that hometown. And it's been a remarkable almost seven years as an elected official and as a part of this body. And it wouldn't be possible without the residents, the business owners, the supporters, the community leaders, my colleagues. It really, I can't underscore how much it has meant to me to be able to step up and serve. And you know, look, that was a tough first election because, you know, I was 22, but I worked hard. We had a team that went out and knocked on doors and talked to people, and it wasn't about the life experience, right? It was what we wanted to do, what we wanted to improve in this community, and that hasn't changed over the last 6 years. Economic development, public safety, and improving the look and the feel of the community. I think in a lot of ways that this commission and other commissions have done that and put this community in a better direction than we have been in the past. I'm proud of this commission and previous commissions for important, serious decisions that we've had to make. I've prided myself, and I think this commission, on making decisions that are not necessarily politically popular. They're not the easy decisions. This building, raising taxes. Nobody steps up and says, hey, I want to raise taxes. But it was necessary and it was difficult. But in the long term, it was the best decision for this city. Development of the downtown. While sure, there's going to be increased traffic, it's something this community has yearned for 20, 25 years. Make the difficult decisions, and I think that's what we've done, and that's what I hope that future members of this body will do, because it's so much more important than appeasing the 4 or 5 people that come in here and yell and scream. You have to think about the larger picture. We're what, the 14th, 15th largest community in the state? 14th largest community in the state. 3rd largest state in the nation. We just passed New York because all the New Yorkers moved to Florida. Right? So I really think, and I think that this body has done that over the last couple of years, and I really hope that that continues. I want to thank my family, who to this day think I'm kind of crazy for getting into this realm and stepping up to put myself out there. I want to thank my mom for holding off her fiery Facebook responses to my haters, because that would not have gone very well for the haters. I want to thank my dad and grandmother and everybody who supported me over the years. My kind of kitchen cabinet of sorts, of course, you knew we weren't going to get through this without hearing about Ari Porth. Ari Porth is one of the best people I know. And if you haven't had the opportunity to meet him, please. He is doing a heck of a job as one of our circuit court judges in Broward County, not sentencing people and locking them up and throwing away the key, but making a real substantial difference in their life through treatment and services that they need. He runs the drug court and the mental health court in Broward County, and he's well suited for it. He's got the right temperament. He really cares. He's a social worker with a law degree, is what we like to say. But that guy, when he was a state representative for District 96 and represented part of Coral Springs and Northwest Broward County, met an 18-year-old kid who had just started at Florida State University. I had these dorky and they still bring them up, these dorky business cards that said like Dan Daly for president in 2040.
I have one.
And Larry has one. And I just did it as a way to kind of get recognized and remembered. And he took one, and then he offered me an opportunity to intern in his office, and I guess I made good coffee because he kept me around. And the nicest guy in the planet actually fired his aide and hired me, and at 19, gave me a shot. And I don't come, look, my folks are registered to vote because I registered them. I don't come from a long line of political folks. I don't come from, I never wanted for anything, but we never had, you know, I put myself through college, I put myself through law school, and took a kid that had no real connections or anything to back him up and gave him a shot. And that's not just me, that's so many other people over the years that Ari has mentored and worked with in a very similar way to how Skip Campbell mentored Ari, which is why it was so amazing to have the opportunity to serve with Skip for the time that I did. Skip was actually one of the first people that I called when I ran and decided to run. And in typical Skip fashion, he supported a young person getting involved and making a difference. And I never forgot that. And that's what made October so much more difficult for me. But Ari, Robbie Holroyd, Ryan Ryder, Alex Sage, so many others in the inner circle who have endured the late night phone calls and the brainstorming sessions and everything else over the years. Thank you for your time, your friendship, your support, and for putting up with me. To the fire union, some of my first and earliest friends that I met in Tallahassee, and Brian Powell and Steve and others, you've literally been with me from day one, and that's continued now into District 97. Same thing with the Fraternal Order of Police. You represent your members' interests and do a heck of a job for our community, both in that capacity and in your service as firefighters and first responders, police officers. Over the years, I think I've mentioned a lot that I'm a big fan of our city staff. I don't use the word rock star very often, but I think you're all rock stars. I don't want to throw, I'm certainly not throwing any shade on any other parts of District 97, that's my disclaimer. But I would say that I think we've got the best staff around. And that's because you care. You're not here, certainly not here for the paycheck, right? But it's because you care. When you've got longevity like 30 and 40, and I don't know, Joyce is at like, I don't know, 60 years now. And she's only 29, so I'm not really sure how it's possible. But when you've got that kind of longevity, it really says something about the community and the time and the effort that folks put in. And it goes, it doesn't go unnoticed, right? I mean, I hear it all the time. In my professional field, I deal with city staff and county staff and folks all over the place. And I got to tell you, I hope no one and any of those staff bodies are listening, but you're the best. You're the model. You are the folks that everybody kind of aspires to be. And I think that says a lot. I think that says a lot about you and your commitment to this community, and it says a lot about this city. To my colleagues, I'll start with newest to most seasoned. Mayor, I'm sorry that we'll only have the opportunity to serve two meetings. But you know, we've known each other a very long time, and I've really cherished the opportunity to get to know you and to work with you, and I look forward to doing so in this new capacity as well. You've got one of the biggest hearts I've ever seen.
Thank you.
And genuinely care for this community. So I look forward to building that unity in the community with you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Josh Simmons, you're like my little brother, who's older. And I got to tell you, when I first ran, I busted my butt. I went through 3 pairs of dress shoes because I believe that you dress for the job you want, not the job you got. So I was in the middle of June in slacks, a button down, and dress shoes, because that went over really well. And I got to tell you, I was impressed. I don't think I've seen someone work that hard in a really long time to get out and meet people and really learn the issues. And candidly, to be frank with people, right? You had a number of people that I would watch at early voting that would say, well, our taxes are too damn high.
and go into that whole thing. Are you going to lower my taxes? Can you commit to lowering my taxes and I'll vote for you? And with a straight face, Josh Simmons didn't do the typical politician thing and try and change the subject or try and, trail off, but actually said, look, I'm going to be honest with you. We're in a tight budget situation. We'll do what we can, but I'm not going to commit that to you. There may be a time when we need to make some tough decisions, and we may need to raise taxes, or we may need to keep the rate the same, whatever it is. And I gained a tremendous amount of respect for you at that point because of your candor and your willingness to just be direct with somebody and say, no, I'm not just going to tell you what you want to hear to get their vote. And I know you're going to do great things, and I look forward, again, with you as well to working together. And I know you're taking over the mantle of home rule hero. Listen, man, I'm still here. Tone it down for another couple days, okay? Joy, it has been an absolute pleasure to work and to serve with you. Compassion, drive, and dedication to this community that I haven't seen in others, and a commitment to do what's right. You ran on certain issues, and when you got up here, you dug into those issues and fully understood and fully evaluated the situation that we were in. And you made some really tough decisions, and I gained, again, so much respect because you didn't take the easy way out. You didn't, and you had supporters who probably berated you over it. But it was the right thing to do for this city, and that's what should matter most. And that has always stuck with me. And so it's been an honor to work with you as well. Larry Vignola, my big brother, because we have battled like big brothers would. But I don't think that there is any questioning your dedication and commitment to this community and your passion on things that are important to you in this community. And it's always been interesting because we all kind of have our different things, right? You're the family guy and the soccer fields and the schools, and that's such an important basis of what we are as a community. And I always appreciated that. And even when we would battle and go toe-to-toe, and it was never personal, right? We would have it out. Many of you have seen it. And then we would leave and be okay because we voted, and it would either go your way or my way. But at the end of the day, we had the fierce debate, we had the serious conversation, and we both did what we thought was right for the community. And I've always appreciated that with you. And it's been nice to be your neighbor as well. Except that one time you didn't warn me about the pitcher, and I poured it on myself. Thanks for that. That was like the hazing ritual when I was brand new. Nobody told me that the lid stuck and it went all over my pants. Mr. City Manager, and I'm going to make this very clear and underline it and an exclamation point and dot it, I think wholeheartedly one of the best decisions we made was bringing you on board. There have been a lot of decisions that you have made us make over the last couple years that have given me and my colleagues a lot of heartburn. You know that. You actually kind of revel in it a little bit, I think. But they, again, are the right decision for the long-term interest of this city. Gone are the days where we just kick the can down the road. And that's so very important, and it's so very refreshing to have somebody. And I think you remember from our interview sessions where I said, Mike, if you move forward as the next city manager, take us to the board. What that means, folks, is make us vote on issues. Don't be afraid of something going down, because there's an opportunity for it to go up. There's an opportunity for something to pass. There's an opportunity for momentum to continue. Sure, it may be close. It may be a 3-2 vote. You may have to adjust, but that's what makes this process great. To be afraid to move forward with something because we think it might fail is not in the best interest of this community. So while I have taken a lot of Tums in the last year and a half, I do really appreciate the work and the effort that you have put in, even if you took my football coach. So best of luck to you and Texas A&M. John, my fellow attorney up here, it's been unique. You
have been phenomenal. I know you've been with the city a long time, and the effort that you put into protecting us and to making sure that the city is prepared for whatever may come really goes a long way. I think when you look at other municipalities who berate openly, and I'm not going to name any names, but other municipalities nearby who berate their legal counsel, who think they're smarter than their legal counsel, who think that they know better or they know best, you have always been willing to work with us and answer any questions and always answer the phone. And there's some gentle needling back and forth. So I just wanted you to know that over the years, you know, we used to count when we had the invocation, somebody would come up and they'd say, I want to pray, you know, I pray for the commission, and I pray for the mayor, and I pray for the city manager, and I pray for the police chief and the fire chief. 9 times out of 10, they forgot the city attorney. And this was a personal affront, I believe, to John Hearn, because I counted, and as a matter of fact, there were 894 prayers for the city manager, 922 prayers for the city commission, and 7 prayers for the city attorney. So I want you to know that in every moment of silence, I now include the city attorney in that prayer.
You pray for those that need it.
So Commissioner Daley, full disclosure on this,
Touche,
those
touche.
7 times, I went to the person giving the prayer.
And asked them?
And John has been made aware of this. That is true. Ask them to include John.
Oh, that's funny.
It has been, it's been a good ride. There have been a lot of ups, there have been a lot of downs, difficult times, particularly in the last year and a half. Carmen, my love of my life. Carmen, everybody say hi to Carmen real quick. Carmen in the back. You just waved to me, waved to everybody. Carmen's my tiniest supporter, and I love her
Hi,
to
Carmen.
death. And she got up early to come to the city commission meeting, so I appreciate you being here, Carmen, and Lindsay. It has been a really good ride, and I think, if nothing else, I have realized that it is not one person. It is not one person that gets elected and is suddenly going to change this city. It is the team. It is always the team. It has always been the team, and it will always be the team. So I look forward to whoever may take this seat in June. I'm sorry for the gap. I really tried. I would love to be in Tallahassee right now working in session, and they just won't let me up. So I really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And my number isn't changing. So, except for Larry. My cell phone number is the same. You can always reach out. I'm always happy to be helpful. Ladies and gentlemen, it has really been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you.
All right, next commissioner. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I didn't know you were, sorry. I just wanted to answer a question that Diane Simpson brought up, and that was the revenues from the City Hall and the mall versus cost. And although you make a good point, one point I want to point out is that the passport services that we offer generates almost $2 million a year, and we would not be able to extend that because we'd lose those weekend hours. And that's probably the biggest component of that income is those weekend hours and the extended after hours. So that would just be a whole new dynamic, but it's worth considering if there's a way to generate it. Okay, thank you. So, on to April 13th, we have the opportunity to keep Coral Springs beautiful, and you have the opportunity to adopt a street. And you can be out there with me for 2.5 hours cleaning up whatever street you own. I'm telling you, the program works. When I started, I had 72 pounds of trash. That went to 48. Then it went to 30s, and now I average 25 pounds of trash between trash and recycles, and it keeps Coral Springs beautiful. So go onto the city website, sign up, and come out, and we'll feed you pizza afterwards. Thank you. And if you're not going to clean the streets, then enjoy the brunch with bunnies over at the Sawgrass Nature Center. And I'm going to miss Dan. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Vignola.
Well, See, we're used to doing these in order around, so I'm a little off too there.
No worries. I'd like to mix it up, Larry.
It's okay. Coming up Sunday, April 7th at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., we'll have the April Pools Day event at the Cypress Pool. That's at 1300 Coral Springs Drive. There'll be pool fun, music, entertaining, and educational experiences. You participate in water safety activities, watch real-time scenarios and demonstrations, and learn about resources available to help make home water safe. The event is free, but food items will be available for purchase. One of the terrible things that happens all the time here in South Florida is we have children that either lose their lives or come close to because of the amount of bodies of water we have here in South Florida, and the fact that they're always out there because of our weather. It's a good event. If you have young ones, go out there and see all the wonderful things that we provide here in our community to help keep our kids safe. And it's a good event. Again, it's Sunday, April 7th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. I'll get to you a little later. My office hours this month will be on April 9th. Please call Randy at 954-344-5911 to schedule an appointment. I also want to mention that the courthouse wings to be named after Mayor Campbell. That's April 10th at noon. Obviously, for all of us that can make it there, I think that'd be great. And anyone from the community, Mayor Campbell spent a long time here in our community and cared greatly about it, and anyone from the community that can come out, and I think that'd be really, really nice. If you'd like to speak with me on any issue, you can always reach me on my cell also at 954-632-7544. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Commissioner Simmons?
Yeah, I wanted to say this past weekend, I actually attended the World Fest celebration. It was another wonderful event. The Multicultural Advisory Committee was one of the first committees that I joined once I got involved and to learn the inner workings of the city. And, you know, that is one of the most caring and dedicated committees that we have in this city. And for them to, you know, every year, I mean, they literally start planning, you know, today for the next World Fest to make sure they celebrate the diversity and all the different cultures that we have here in this city. And so I just want to say congratulations to staff as well as the committee for putting on another wonderful event and showcasing all the different cultures that we have here in this city. I also just want to say thank you to everyone who, you know, puts on their pants one leg at a time, and you know, get up every day and come to work for this city to kind of help push it to newer heights. You know, as Commissioner Daley said earlier, you know, your work doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you always for helping that. You know, these communications are very interesting because, you know, usually you can use it as a time to push for an issue or to say, you know, talk about something going on in the city or anything like that. But I actually look forward to these because it's kind of therapeutic for me to be able to use this venue or this platform to talk about issues that matter. You know, we recently had the, and I know Mayor Brook is going to get more into it, but I know that we had that mental health awareness town hall. And as someone who has a background in mental health therapy and case management, to see that people are talking more about it is such a fresh breath of air, because it used to be whispered behind people's backs. Now we're confronting it head on, and I just think that's amazing. And just lastly, you know, life is precious. I'm not going to go on a super long tirade, but life is precious. It can be short. Life can be brutal, but I believe that there is so much beauty in the world, and that every human being on this planet has, they have the right to enjoy all that life can give them. You know, there's so many, you know, unfortunate and untimely deaths that have, you know, come into our community, come into our country, come throughout our world, that it's just, you know, at times it can be a little overbearing, because sometimes you see these situations where you just want this stuff to stop. And you know, I know that my energy has been a little low the last couple of days. It's just been so many different negative incidences of just good people, you know, passing away tragically, or people trying to do some good in their community and passing away tragically, that it can be a little hard to deal with because there are so many people out there that just want to do some good in the world. And so if you find or meet those people, support them, help them out, give them the resources they need to carry out their mission while they're here. And so with that, I'll leave you all. So thank you.
That's wonderful. I agree. A lot of beautiful people in the world and a lot of beauty in the world. I'm happy to celebrate my 55th birthday with you all.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Mayor Scott. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you for your leadership there, Dan. Funny. So on this serious note, which is under my mayor's communication here, and I appreciate staff and Allison putting together the package. It's the resources that were shared last Wednesday night here. Unfortunately, I got a text on Saturday night, very late, that we lost a young life to suicide, and the proper phrasing so that you can all know it and share it. It's not committed suicide. Not necessarily a choice when you have that kind of illness. So the word is died by suicide. That's the phrasing. So Calvin DeSeer lost his life. And it's how I lost my mom when I was 23. So this topic is very personal to me, and us taking a lead role in suicide prevention and urging and sharing with others to seek help when there's a need for mental help is very important to me. It's not just important to me. It's important to our community. We have about 132,000 residents. Depression is a medical condition, and in the backup you see that it affects people of all genders, races, ages, and income levels. So it does not discriminate. People who are depressed feel more than sadness or the blues. You do not snap your fingers and you are no longer depressed. It is a medical condition. Just like cancer or a broken leg or a cold, where somebody seeks help to treat those conditions, there shouldn't be a stigma associated with seeking help for mental conditions. So I'm going to urge the City Commission to get behind me, whether it be today through a motion or otherwise. And I would like us to start a social media campaign. I know, Amy, you'll be on board. And the hashtag is Eliminate the Stigma. I'd like you to hashtag that on your social media. State Representative Dan Daly, I'd like you to hashtag that, Eliminate the Stigma, and join me in a campaign that will have people, whether they're 8, 12, 28, 82, be able to share, I need help. Well, what do you need help for? You got a broken leg? Oh, no. I'm having a rough time. Rough time with what? What physical condition do you have? I don't have one. I'm having a rough time dealing with X, Y, or Z. I want us to urge people to say that it's okay not to be okay and eliminate the stigma. So I hope you'll all be in. I hope the city will all be in. I hope it'll be a 4-0 or 5-0 vote when it comes time that it's on the agenda and we say, yeah, this is what we want to take on. We want to lead the nation in preventing suicide. And it's somewhat ironic because the one issue that Mayor Campbell had reached out to me before his passing that he said he wanted to work on with me was about suicide prevention. And I so appreciate Liz and everybody in the marketing team and the city manager's office because I made a request on Sunday and Wednesday night. We had a packed house here. Unfortunately, I couldn't be here because I'm committed to my family. We had a vacation planned. And it actually wound up working better because up here, we're not politicians. We're not public servants. Up here, were resources for suicide prevention, leading dialogue about incredible resources in our community and around our community, which includes Eagles Haven. There's another resource that I'm asking Lynn Martzel to get in contact with. Grace Carrington is with the Ganley Foundation. They actually started here in Coral Springs. Unfortunately, Jim lost his son to suicide many years ago. And we can get in touch with Grace at grace@ganleyfoundation.org. And if you didn't catch that, you can ask me later, Lynn or Mike. But I would like you to join me in that hashtag, eliminate the stigma. We can all help each other. I've had therapy years ago. Matter of fact, I'm thinking about going for some maintenance. We're dealing with some tough things here. Nothing wrong with seeking therapy, having therapy. We have some great therapists in our midst, including those that have great experience with trauma. And that's the focus for the trauma that has been the experience of many MSD children and students. And so there's a lot we can do, and we're sharing all these resources here in the backup, and I appreciate that. I've got a few other things to add, and I like Josh, I think this is a great opportunity for us to, share some things with each other and with our community. So I got a couple things on my agenda. Another is a National Day of Prayer. Timing is great. I urge everybody to join us Thursday, May 2nd at 7 p.m. We're going to be at the Coral Springs Charter School. So we have people of all faiths, and this is our day to come together and share some peace and healing. And we're doing the same this Saturday morning. There's a peace walk. City of Coral Springs is joining with the City of Parkland at 7 a.m. at the Peace Garden, which is right near the museum. I appreciate that Vice Mayor Carter has been, I hear, on many, if not all, the walks for quite some time. So I'd urge you all to join us this Saturday morning at 7 a.m. It'll be a great way to unify with our neighboring community of Parkland. A couple more things. I did ask if you had that link to share at this time, if you can put that on the board. This is a great way to apply for boards and committees by going to our website. It's coralsprings.org. I'm not quite seeing it on the screen just yet. Maybe they'll get there in a moment.
Mayor, we're going to
yes.
just say it out loud. We don't have the.
Great.
It is www.coralsprings.org/cityclerk, and you just click on the link to join.
/cityclerk. Sounds great. Thank you so much. I did have my first office hours, as I promised. I had invited one of the other candidates for mayor, Nancy Mateer, to come. We had a couple other residents that attended this past Monday, and the focus was on minority concerns, and we've got a couple of ideas. I'll be sharing that later at the retreat, but I appreciate all the attendees for that, and it was a great dialogue that we had. There is a Temple of Time burning that will be taking place on May 19th. Does that sound right? Sunday, May 19th. Before then, and I'll bring this up at the retreat as well, I'd like us to do a joint event sharing some peace and healing with the City of Parkland before the actual burn. Kind of preparing our residents for the burn. So there are a lot of residents that just kind of don't get why it's being burned. Kind of like to explain that at a joint event before the burning, if we can do that. But we'll talk about that more at the retreat. I do want to thank you, Dan, for your years of service. You are a great public servant. You're a great man, and I know that you'll continue to do great things for and with our community. I will also be bringing up my desire to move the city commission meeting. Not asking for a vote on that just yet, but I'd like to move it to the evening. I'd like to move the daytime to the evening to connect with more citizens, allow for more opportunities, and also have even more recognitions potentially. I think it's a great way to connect with our community even more so. We only had 9.5% of the voters turn out. So I want you to think about this. I think I got about 38%. So about 128,000 people did not vote for your mayor. Right, about 128,000 people did not vote for me to be here. Why is that? What can we do? How can we increase voter turnout? What can we do So I'm not just asking government, I'm asking you citizens, what can you do to publicize the June 18 election? I'm hoping the CIGC, the Customer Involved Government Committee, will take it on, of course not supporting a candidate, but to really promote the election, because having 9.5% of our registered voters really takes away our impact from different state and federal opportunities to be a factor. If we have 20% voter turnout for a June 18 election, we're going to be a lot more powerful than having 8% voter turnout. So I am, trust me, I am so grateful to be here with everybody. I'm so grateful to be your mayor. And to reiterate one thing I shared at the last meeting, Vice Mayor Carter, as your mayor, I'm committed to your success on this dais. And the same for you, Commissioner Simmons. What your passions are, I want to support. Commissioner Vignola, I want to support your objectives as much as I can and help you achieve the legacy that you'd like to leave for our community. And I want to reiterate one other thing. I urge my colleagues, don't be afraid to be the dissenting vote. Don't be afraid to be the one or the two, as you have, these last two meetings. I appreciate that, I respect it, and I will always maintain dignity in respectful disagreement, always. So I urge you to always speak your mind and not feel, I got to go with the flow on this one. Two more things. You know what? We'll end it at that. So I'm happy to be here and celebrating my birthday with you all. We've got a couple more communications, and I'm going to kick it back over to Larry Vignola. City Manager's communication, please.
Mayor, just on behalf of the staff, we want to all thank Dan Daly for everything you've done. You've been an amazing commissioner for us. You've been frustrated with my timing on most occasions, and you said earlier you made decisions that weren't, necessarily politically positive. I would argue you made decisions that were politically not smart. But you made the right decision for what was right by the city, and I'm confident you'll continue to do that. That's always impressed me about you, that you've done what you believe is right, even if it meant you not getting reelected. So our staff has really enjoyed everything you've contributed. I heard you were an amazing lifeguard back in the day. I want to thank you for that. No telling how many lives you saved by blowing the whistle. And but we want to thank you for everything, and we look forward to working with you in this next step.
So Mayor, Commissioner Daly mentioned the fight against home rule. Give you an update how that's going. Every bill I read starts with preemption, and it's municipal preemption of cell regulations, towing, vacation rentals, restriction on impact fees, protecting the waste companies from the municipalities, give them more rights as the municipalities. A lot of our business incentives bills are being removed, and if someone challenges one of our laws, to now allow the prevailing party to collect attorney's fees. So a lot of good things happening up there in the absence of Commissioner Daly.
That's great news, John.
Thank you. And Commissioner Daly, it's been great having you as the wingman here. Sometimes things happen in meetings over the years, and it's good to have someone that you can give that look to. And Commissioner Daly, you have been that. I remember when I met you, you were the most mature 35-year-old man I ever met. Then I found out you were 21. But you always knew what you wanted to do. You wanted to make a difference. You've worked hard. I've watched how you've done it. It's been a true pleasure being by your side here and working together with you, because that's how you've done it. Unique fact, Dan does put his pants on 2 legs at a time. Don't ask me how I know that. But that's why he's going to be so effective for District 97. But I do know that factually, by the way.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Anyway, that's all I have, Mayor. And transitioning, I think, to Commissioner Vignola.
Yeah, actually, one more thing for me to add that I forgot. I do have my first set of office hours outside of City Hall. It will be at Amy's Place, a local business owner, Lady in the Mug, at 3111 North University Drive. The date is Thursday, April 25th, from 10 to 11:30. And if anybody would like an appointment with me, you don't have to know me, you just got to call Randy at 344-5906. Again, that's 954-344-5906. If you want to give me a heads up in regards to the topic, it's sbrook@coralsprings.org. And if you need to reach me on my cell, it's 954-696-7599. Thank you, Commissioner Vignola.
You're welcome down there for.
All right, sure.
What can I say? This is stand-up time. Roast time. No. Dan Daly, State Representative Dan Daly. I cannot wait to yell at you about home rule every day that you're up there in Tallahassee. But I am grateful for your time, your friendship. We met a few years ago. You know, just trying to get interested and involved in Coral Springs. And one of my mentors, Bobby DuBose, kind of gave me Dan's contact information. We met and we just kind of talked and found out that we were kindred spirits. And since then, we have become like brothers. And he is definitely my older brother. But I was excited to work with you, excited to work with all of you, but I was excited to work with you because I knew that we kind of thought the same way about, you know, all the things that this city could be and what we wanted it to look like, and that we're both dedicated to the community. And I know that you get up every day and you just want to do what's right. You want to do what's best. You are one of the most well-intentioned people I've ever met. And to see another youngish person you know, in this was kind of comforting for me. And you're not leaving, you're just transitioning because you will make sure you pay special attention to your home. But go up there, man, change things, be different. Don't be the same. Don't go up there and just disappear. Go up there, be different, make some changes, look out for us, and take care of us. I'm proud of you, man. Congratulations. I'm excited for you. This is something I know you've wanted. You got it, so it's a gift. Respect it, love it, cherish it, and see it all the way through. So thank you, man.
I already said I'm going to miss you. So I second what Josh said. From a leadership position, you have laid out a great path. My favorite memory was when we were in Tallahassee at Broward Days, and he drugged me through the halls of the Senate and the House, introducing me to everybody, and I was so green and so new, and was very grateful for that experience. Thank you. When we are new and we get elected, there's a dynamic, a shift and a change, and sometimes that's uncomfortable for the people who have been here. But the fact that you are open and receptive and inviting makes you a great leader. And for that, I will always be grateful that our paths crossed. I wish you the best in success.
So, State Representative and friend Dan Daly, you are truly a great representative of our youth. You've inspired a lot of youth to move forward in their lives. You continue to actually inspire me as well. And I was happy to support you in your runs. I was happy to serve with you for all of 2 meetings. I know you'll do great things, and if I can share with you one word of wisdom is always bring solutions to the table. You're going to hear about a lot of problems all the time. Keep focused on those solutions, and you're going to make a great impact, not just for our community, but for our state. So thank you for your service. I appreciate you very much, Dan.
Soon to be former Commissioner Daly. So I first met Dan outside the commission chambers at our old building across the street. And everyone used to say, who's this young kid running for commission? Well, back then it was me. So when he told me he wanted to run next, I was like, yes, please do, because what ended up happening was I went from, the kid to the seasoned veteran. I do have the business cards, by the way, that said Dan Daly for president in 2040. And quite a few people joke about it. I know you were talking about, Josh as a little brother, whatever. I've always kind of felt that way, that we've had that relationship also. And one of my favorite memories of that, and we hinted at this the last meeting, was I got a call from Dan. I was out with my wife and kids. We were shopping for some furniture, and I had a call from Dan. I'll never forget exactly where I was, and it was raining. And he said, hey, he goes, how many people in Coral Springs graduated from UCF?
Oh.
It was
It's a very large number, by the way.
It is a very large number, and that's, I think, exactly what I told him. Dan had made a comment about a sporting event. I'm going to leave it there.
Gentle football needling.
And the president of the UCF, what is it, the president of the UCF of South Florida Alumni Club or whatever, started it on him, and it spiraled a little bit out of control. So for Dan, it was very, very tough. For his colleagues on the commission, it was great entertainment. But that's one of my favorite memories of you. The other thing I always remember about you is, look, and I'm not trying to sound mean here, right? We have an election in a couple months, and I don't believe anyone running still here at the end of the meeting. You sat here for a couple years, going to every single meeting, knowing what was going on in the city, everything that staff was doing, everything the commission was working on. And so when you came in, you were extremely knowledgeable, and we didn't miss a beat. And that's something that I'll never forget. And as your colleague, I'm grateful that you did, so we didn't have to go through that whole transition. I think we've both grown a lot here. It's kind of funny. We look at pictures when we were younger. I think our hairlines were a little bit lower, and maybe a little less wrinkles on me, not you yet. But I appreciate your friendship, man, throughout it all. I know you mentioned earlier, we've had some disagreements at commission meetings, but one of the things I've always taken pride in with you is I think we both have the same vision on where Coral Springs needs to go. We just differed in the past that I think we want to take to get there. But that's funny. I've always heard that over the years. Oh, you and Dan are so alike in this, but you guys argue up there. It's like, yeah, well, that's just life, And we've gone ahead and voted on a lot of tough issues. I mean, at one point in 2014, that bond issue, to go forward that and deciding what projects we wanted to put on, that was a really big one. Obviously, the city hall and the tax you talked about. But in my opinion, the biggest decision that we made, and probably the decision I'm most proud of, I went first to talk about where we wanted to go in the city manager's decision. That was, in my mind, the toughest decision we'll ever make. And we were looking between someone who I believe was a good friend and could do a good job, but I thought Mike was someone that could take us to a whole another place. And I was nervous as can be, because you don't know who you're going to work with. I mean, the city manager can make us look good or bad, and to go ahead and go outside was kind of tough. And when you went ahead and you said your speech there, it was like, this is good. And the fact that you listened and all the issues, even though we've disagreed, you've listened and we've changed our minds, you've convinced me, I've convinced you. And I think that was one of the issues that I think I'll always remember with you. And another thing you talked about, how I represent the schools and things, whatever, because that's kind of who I am. And all of us represent, the whole city, but we know a different part of the community just based off our own experiences and stuff. So I think that's part of where we've had some of our stuff. But when you go up to Tallahassee, I'm going to give you a few things I want to talk about. No, these are
Budget requests?
not budget requests. There's two things that are really important to me, and I know they're really important to you, and one of them is our firefighter SWAT team members. Please don't forget that issue. And the other thing that I know you're not going to forget is the special taxing districts. So, and with that, I know when you go up there, and everyone says, oh, when they went up to Tallahassee, they forgot us. I know you're not going to forget us. I know you're going to continue to be a hometown hero, and I know you'll be coming here and giving reports to us, and don't be a stranger. I've had the ultimate pleasure of working beside you, man. We're going to miss you, but I know you'll be here a lot, man, and good luck and congratulations. We have a plaque. You get a plaque. So, And this is the Dan Daly, and it says, "The City of Coral Springs gratefully recognizes your years of public service and numerous contributions as a commissioner and vice mayor of the premier community in which to live, work, and raise a family." And it's got today's date on it. That's for you.
I mentioned everything I needed to mention earlier. I just, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And I got my first piece of, my first plaque to hang in my Tallahassee office.